MicroStrategy is going to keep developing its Bitcoin position, and yeah, it's going to get exponentially harder, right? This last week, you saw Block announce that they're going to
I
start
saw
buying
that.
Bitcoin every month.
Hey guys, welcome back to Everyday Finance. In this video, Michael Saylor discusses Bitcoin and crypto. Michael believes that when others engage in such behavior, it tends to increase the price of Bitcoin, forcing him to pursue it. His initial acquisition of Bitcoins occurred at a lower value. With a keen eye for financial analysis, he made a wise decision to invest in Bitcoin when it was still in its early stages. Now, we have the opportunity to acquire even more Bitcoin through various means such as organic cash, convertible debt, and equity. This will be made possible by leveraging the capital markets and other market dynamics. As the saying goes, give him a lever long enough and a place to stand, and he can move the world. In this case, Bitcoin is the place to stand, and lots of things Michael Saylor discusses, so please watch the video to end. And share this video, and subscribe our channel, Everyday Finance. Thanks.
We'll keep adding, right? We'll keep adding Bitcoin. It's like asking, if you were asking, a real estate developer in the middle of New York City, oh, you own like 8 blocks of New York City.
When do you stop? Right.
When do you stop? The answer, well, we're going to buy the 9th block here when we can put together the financing, and then the 10th. And if you said, well, when are you going to divest from New York City? The answer is, if you talk to New Yorkers, there's nowhere better than New York City. So they're going to keep building. And when they can't build out, they're going to build up, right? And, it's like, well, I wanted to buy another 18 blocks, but I can't. So I rezoned the blocks I own, and I'm going to replace a 20-story building with a 100-story building. And there's Hudson Yards for you, or whatever it might be. MicroStrategy is going to keep developing its Bitcoin position. And yeah, it's going to get exponentially harder, right? This last week, you saw Block announce that they're going to start buying Bitcoin every month. You've seen a accretion of Bitcoin by a lot of Bitcoin miners. A lot of them are actually not selling as much Bitcoin as they're mining now. I think you're going to see more Bitcoin miners buying more. I think you're going to see more Bitcoin exchanges buying more. I think you see the existing ETFs accumulating, but now we're up to 22 spot ETFs in the world, and they're all in a marketing war with each other. And so they're going to go harder. So I think, and at some point you're going to see these Russell 1000 companies, right? Which one of them wants to crawl out of their zombie state? It's like, you're just waiting for someone to decide they want the money. So I think that when they do that, they drive up the price of Bitcoin, and I have to chase it. My first Bitcoins were below 10,000, and and I'm buying Bitcoin in the 60s now, and that's okay. I don't know where we'll get to. I know we'll get more. We'll accrete from here. We will acquire more Bitcoin than we have right now, and we'll do it via organic cash and via debt, especially convertible debt, and we'll do it via equity, and that'll be a function of capital markets and all sorts of other dynamics. But I think Archimedes said, you give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, I can move the world. Well, the place to stand is Bitcoin, right? It's not a commodity, it's a scarcity. So if it's a scarcity, it's like if I said to you, there's one city, it's at the trade crossroads of the world. It's the center of the digital economy. One day, everybody on the planet's going to be moving their capital through that city, but there's only 276 by 276 by 276 blocks in that city. And by the way, it's like 94% occupied, but you can buy another one of those blocks if you want. Do you want to buy some more? And the answer is, yeah, I want to keep buying, because just like if I could have bought New York or Manhattan 100 years ago, or 50 or 200 or 30 or 300, tell me, At what year, how many years ago was it a bad idea, right? I think it's always been a good idea if you can hold, right? As long as you can hold the property. And why is Manhattan a good idea? Because it's a granite island at the middle of Long Island Sound and the Hudson, and it's got great natural harbors. It's the gateway to North America. It was always the best place to put a port, right? And if you look at it and you cruise around it and you stare at it and you look at the fact you can build that on top of that schist, it's obvious people are going to want to live in and do business in that city for hundreds of years.
Bitcoin cautiously begins a new week, holding on to the $660,000 support level, while market sentiment teeters between optimism and caution. The BTC price action has been tightly sticking to a narrow trading range, indicating a bearish sentiment. However, this week presents an opportunity for a potential dramatic change of pace in the crypto market. Fluctuations in the market United States macro data will be combined with commentary from Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve. This combination has the potential to create a highly volatile situation for risk assets. Bitcoin bulls have a lot riding on the outcome. Even within this established range, the market has hinted at a potential deeper correction. Traders are already identifying levels that could be next in line. Emphasize the significance of bid liquidity below $50,000, which is seen as an attractive zone for a longer-term market bottom. On shorter time frames, it appears that BTC Slust is more focused on clearing liquidity to the upside as the week begins. Notably, popular trader Don Crypto Trades observed that the so-called bull market support band continues to provide strong support, as evidenced by the price bouncing precisely from this band last week. So far, it has proven to be a reliable support level during this and previous poll cycles. Let's see how we fare from here. The support band consists of two exponential moving averages, or EMAs. The most recent data from monitoring resource CoinGlass, meanwhile, there has been a recent development in the market. Overnight into May 13th, a substantial block of bids totaling $65 million was placed at approximately $6,250. This has created a cloud of ask liquidity hovering above $62,000, which is now being gradually cleared. It will be interesting to see if this leads to a change in the spot price yesterday. A fellow trader mentioned that they believed passive spot buying was the reason for the support, near $60,000. They also noted that there was a good spot bid up overall, with $58,000 being part of the discussion. Let's get back to Michael Saylor interview.
There's $900 trillion of capital or wealth in the world, and I think there's $1 trillion in the Bitcoin network. So 0.1% of the economic wealth in the world has found its way into digital property. Most of the people don't have an hour to talk. Like most of the world, I'm sure Charlie Munger never listened to, a 2-hour podcast on Bitcoin. So most of the wealth in the world is in the hands of people that don't really understand what Bitcoin is. And a lot of the advocates of Bitcoin, they have been intentionally confrontational or inflammatory, and they've gotten into a bunch of other debates. Like, does Bitcoin stand for, replacing banks or replacing currency or replacing government or replacing whatever? No. What is Bitcoin? It's digital capital. What's the addressable market of digital capital? Somewhere between 100 and 400 trillion dollars. So what is Bitcoin? It's 100 to 400x from here once you understand what it is. So what's the impediment? Well, I mean, the impediment is just education. And so what are we doing? We're educating, I go and I give a speech in Vegas, and there could be a few hundred or a few thousand people in the room, but then 1 million people will watch the speech online. I sat with Lex Friedman and I talk about Bitcoin and economics.
For over 3 hours. I watched it.
Okay. 9.1 million other people have watched it. But, every day, Guy, another 10 or 20,000 people watch it. It's a residual. Now imagine I retired and went off to be a college professor to teach students 1,000 a year. It's like your entire career, you don't get to 20,000 people. So Bitcoin's an idea whose time has come. And if you interpret it as digital currency, you get anxiety and you get inflamed and it's hard to make progress. But if you interpret it as digital capital, you think, wow, this is good for every country, every bank, every company, every person, everybody I ever met. It's just a universal good thing. It's about as good as digital information or digital communication. You don't find anybody that doesn't like technology. You know what? Why am I going to Prague? I'm going to Prague just to explain why this is a good thing, and yet a different way. It'll be recorded. There'll be 2,000 people that'll be in Prague, and they'll be Bitcoin maximalists, and they'll be ideologically passionate individuals. But the hope always is to explain to everybody in Europe or everybody in the rest of the world why it's in their best interest to embrace a new technology. When you just think of it as technology, electricity, steel, there's no ideology associated with it. It's not going to solve all the other problems in the world.
There is a lot of attention on the macroeconomic developments in the US this week. As data prints come in rapidly and quickly, CPI takes center stage in the ongoing discussion about inflation and its impact on interest rates, which in turn affects the outlook for risk assets. Prior to that, on May 14th, the Producer Price Index will be released. April's PPI print, coupled with a speaking engagement by a representative from the Federal Reserve Powell, will be addressing the economy in a moderated discussion with Klaus, the president of the Netherlands Central Bank, at the annual general meeting of the Foreign Bankers Association in Amsterdam. The markets have proven to be quite responsive to Powell's subtle indications. Future policy moves are being influenced by the latest data from CME Group's FedWatch tool, which highlights the prevailing sentiment. Traders are not optimistic about the possibility of a rate cut at the upcoming Fed meeting in June. However, there is a higher chance of a rate cut in September if CPI inflation continues to rise this week. Mark the third consecutive monthly increase in trading resources. The Kesey letter commented alongside its weekly macro diary dates post on X, describing the upcoming few days as very busy while prices act within an established pattern. Corridor volatility can be observed in other areas of the crypto market. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index. The market sentiment indicator has been fluctuating between different states this month. This lagging indicator utilizes a range of factors to assess impulsive tendencies within the crypto market. Traders with significant readings indicating that the market may experience a sudden reversal. The Fear and Greed Index currently stands at the 5,700S as of May 13th, reflecting a relatively neutral reading. This is a stark contrast to the extreme greed zone of 711,100s observed on May 6th. If you learned something from this video, then please like this video and subscribe our channel Everyday Finance, and we will meet in next video. Thanks.